It's affordable. Sign up now at truegreen.com. Restrictions apply.
Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
Tonight, the Atlanta Braves continue their homestand at Truist Park.
Riley charges one up, soaring high into the heavens and disappearing into the seats.
It's the Braves versus the Cincinnati Reds. First pitch, 6:15. Listen to live play-by-play and a rich audio experience on your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Wednesday. A possibility of thunderstorms and mostly cloudy this afternoon and evening with a wind coming out of the south-southwest around 8 miles per hour and a high of 81. Tonight, look for light sprinkles and mostly clouds with a temperature near 73. Tomorrow, a high around 78 and mostly clouds in the morning, followed by a likelihood of thunderstorms. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
TK Vandy Roofing and General Contracting is a fifth-generation contracting company based right here out of Bay County. TK Vandy's expertise in commercial and residential roofing, as well as a design-build general contractor, set them aside as a versatile and fresh alternative to achieve your construction needs. Contact TK Vandy Roofing, 850-866-9908, or email support@tkvandy.com. They can't wait to help you.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Is your restaurant looking a little tired from the long off-season? Is your office a little offish? Start the new year off right by giving them a fresh start. Fresh Start Cleaning is now accepting new clients. Ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services. Fresh Start Cleaning. Get clean again with Fresh Start. Call 850-771-6917, 771-6917, and ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services.
If you think dangerous blood clots can't happen to you, think again. Up to 900,000 men, women, and children are affected by blood clots each year, and about 100,000 die from them. Blood clots don't discriminate. You or a loved one could be at risk right now. The good news is blood clots can be prevented. Knowing the risks and symptoms are key. Major risks for blood clots include a family or personal history of blood clots, a recent hospitalization or surgery, pregnancy, and cancer and its treatments. Symptoms of a blood clot in the legs or arms can include pain, swelling, and skin that is warm to the touch, red, or discolored. Symptoms of blood clots in the lungs include difficulty breathing, chest pain that worsens with a deep breath, or a cough, coughing up blood, and a faster than normal or irregular heartbeat. Speak with a doctor about your risks for blood clots and seek medical attention if you have any symptoms. On average, one person in the United States dies of a blood clot every 6 minutes. Don't let that be you or someone you know. Stop the clot. Spread the word. Learn more at stoptheclot.org/spread the word.
In honor of all those we've lost to cancer and those still fighting and thriving, like basketball analyst Dick Vitale.
I want to beat cancer. I'm going to beat it. That's no doubt in my mind. I'm going to win this battle.
Defeating cancer will take all of us. At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Join our team in the fight against cancer at V.org.
WGSX Lynnhaven, WVLQ Port St. John. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida. Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus Studios. It's the Inside Drive. It's
The next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now we're taking...
With the first pick.
This is the last ball you got in the bag. The Inside Drive. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Wednesday morning. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Who says it's not exciting outside of football season? Not this guy. Last night, NBA, NHL, and of course local sports was about as exciting as you could get. Give us a call, 850-215. Tell us about your most exciting moment from yesterday's walk-off. We had multiple walk-offs. Braves, local, Indiana Pacers beating the Cavs again. We got tons to talk about today right here on the Inside Drive. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida and 104.3 in Panama City and Panama City Beach, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. You can watch, listen, like, comment, subscribe, share about all the wonderful things that transpired yesterday, depending on what fandom you live in, right there. And Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Search it up. Live streaming every day. The Coach James Hale Show from 7 to 9, the Inside Drive right here from 11 to 1, and of course the Afternoon Underdogs from 4 to 6 p.m., followed by the Atlanta Braves again tonight. Coverage starts right after the Afternoon Underdogs and first pitch right there about 6:15. Appreciate Golf Plus being our studio sponsor here as well. We'll talk a little bit more about them when we get to the top of the hour. David Hayes.
Yo, Ryan Mulvey, what it do, baby?
Looking fly back there in that Tennessee Titan blue gear. Looking good.
Yeah, we got to give a little shout-out where shout-outs are due here.
Absolutely.
My buddy Dalton Cope, his wife, or soon-to-be wife, Sasha, which she's got a birthday coming up, so we'll give her an early happy birthday.
There you go. Well-deserved.
Well-deserved. So she works out there at a restaurant called the Sandbar.
Yeah.
Right? And they had someone who's in the Tennessee Titans security organization, and they dropped off like a bunch of Tennessee Titans and Houston Oilers stuff. So, she brought back, she actually got them for herself, but Dalton, my buddy, is a Indianapolis Colts fan. So he's like, no, you're not wearing that in the house. I've got the perfect place we could donate that to. He's like, what size shirt you wearing? She just so happened to get large. I'm like, large in T-shirts, medium and polos. So for all of you out there listening, large in T-shirt, medium and polo, size 7 fitted hat, or I could wear a snapback. You know, hey, I'll take all your gifts. But no, she did that. And then also picked me up 2 hats the next night, which they're still sitting over there at the house, so I gotta go see my buddy. And we were gonna watch the Pacers game last night, but he had some things going on. He's a big Pacers fan as well. So yeah, really cool stuff, and I'm glad you like it, man, because this is swag. I'll stand up and show the camera. But yeah, great day to be alive.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Travis Tritt. But looking good in that. The fact that I know who Travis Tritt is, and that's is a testament to my beautiful bride Beth, who's kind of cultured me on that '90s country, because
the good stuff.
That's it. So
yeah, man, that's the good stuff.
Yeah, I would have never known, the artist and that kind of stuff. So cool. A lot of stuff to talk about here in the first segment. We'll continue it on all the way till we get to Keith Fleming at the top of the hour. Last night, just craziness. I'm doing the 2 Off the Tee with podcast, and 2 Off the Tee podcast with Keith Fleming, and we had a great guest yesterday as well, Greg Ducharme, who has his own Sirius XM radio show. He does the Michael Breed show as well. For those who are golfers, probably know who Michael Breed is, one of the best instructors of our lifetime. Was up there in New York for quite a few times. So I'm doing the podcast, seeing what's going on with the basketball games, the hockey games, and then my good buddy Ian he's at the Arnold baseball game last night and texting and keeping me posted on everything going on. So in spite of doing the podcast at the same time, kind of drinking from the fire hose of sports last night, and hopefully everybody else was as well, because it was an epic night of sports.
That'll blow you back right there.
Yeah.
Drinking from the fire hose.
Drinking from the fire hose.
Better than the fire hydrant, maybe? I mean,
I guess, depending on where that fire hydrant's getting their water from.
Well, and then if you put the fire hose to the fire hydrant, then you're just getting the best of both worlds.
Yeah, absolutely.
They got a lot of pressure to them things. So.
Yeah, that's why it's, drinking from the fire hose is a great, I guess that would be, it's not a pun, that would be an analogy?
Yeah, I would say it's analogous.
Yeah, it's it makes sense. When you got a lot going on, you're doing a lot of different things.
Imagine pressure washing your house, like, hey, fire truck, pull up over here, I need to pressure wash my driveway.
Yeah, I wonder if that would work or not.
I don't know.
It might not be a fine enough point there. I don't know.
Man, you could just get the bulk done, right? And then you just come in and fine tune it with your regular pressure washer.
Pro tip, if you live close to a fire hydrant, it could reduce your homeowner's insurance.
Really?
Yes, because it's...
But you don't really get to choose that unless...
No, but I mean, if it's something you notice when you buy a new house or move into a different house, because the proximity to a fire hydrant could essentially, save your house if, God forbid, it caught on fire. So
what if you just put a faux fire
I think the fire department would be disappointed, and then probably it would backfire, no pun intended, on you with them trying to hook up to a faux fire hydrant. Don't do that. That's not the pro tip. The pro tip is your insurance might be lower if you live close to a fire hydrant. All right, let's start with some local baseball. Do you want to start with the upsetting loss, or do you want to start with the dramatic win?
Oh, man.
Because I feel horrible for the old Buckaroos, but let's start there, and then we'll crescendo up into excitement. All right.
I like that idea.
So over in the 2A bracket, the 5A bracket gets started this afternoon, or this evening, I should say. Bozeman traveled back to Trinity, stayed there in Jacksonville for the Game 2 against Trinity Christian. Unfortunately, dropped that first one a couple days ago, 10-0 in that one. But Bozeman kind of has been the comeback kids in the last couple series, and we thought they were going to do it last night. Bozeman started off great, got up to a 3-1 lead after the first inning. Trinity Christian added a run in the second, bottom of the second, for Bozeman to go up 3-2. Bozeman comes back with 2 runs in the top of the third, shuts out Trinity Christian in the third and the fourth. Bozeman adds 4 in the fourth for them to take I believe at the time it was a 9-2 lead going into the fifth inning. Fifth inning, both teams don't score a run. Here comes the sixth inning. Unfortunately, Trinity Christian scores 6 in that inning to get within 1 run. Bozeman goes scoreless in the top of the 7th, and then unfortunately, Trinity Christian scores 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th to walk off that victory there and get them a trip to the state finals there. Bozeman was ever so close to forcing that Game 3, which would have been right back here in Bay County. So great season for the Bucks. Again, they find themselves in the state playoff, what seems like every year, and had made some great runs as well. So great season for Coach Patton and the Bozeman Bucks. I know they'll be right back there next year. And you got to remember, this was them playing in 2A this year. Last year, did they play in?
Step up. I believe they were in 1A or the 1R when we had the rural and suburban there. I believe that's where they were. But yeah, the step up to 2A and then having to go through all the Christian schools, as you bring up, especially the schools down there in Jacksonville where there's a little bit more of a population.
Quite a few more people in the greater Jacksonville area than around here up in the Florida Panhandle.
It's heartbreaking, though, because they're there every year, and it's just what's it going to take to get over that hump? I mean, Coach Patton has been doing a wonderful job over there with the Bozeman Bucks, and you hate it for the seniors, man. So close. So close, but yet so far away. And Bozeman Bucks and Coach Jeff Patton will keep on building.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. That whole area out there, all the way down to the lowest level of baseball, it just continues to get better, and they're just building and flowing right into the high school, or the whole school, I should say. And you're seeing the result of that on the varsity field with several great seasons in a row. All right, let's pivot over to the 4A side of things. We know Arnold beat Clay 2-0 in the game on Monday to give them an opportunity last night to advance to their first ever state championship Final Four down there in Fort Myers. But it took a dramatic fashion last night. I'm going to try to recap this game the best I can. I appreciate my buddy Ian kind of keeping me up to date, and I felt like I was there at the game with the texts he kept coming. I was sitting on edge while all this was going on, and it kept going and going. Anyway, Arnold gets out to a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first. No runs scored in the second or the third. Clay ties it up in the top of the fourth. Arnold then answers in the bottom of the fifth with 2 runs to take a 3-1 lead into the 6th inning. As we know in baseball, no lead is safe. Clay gets to the top of the 7th, scores 3 runs to take the lead 4-3 at that point. Arnold then scores 1 run to tie it up, and 4-4, we're going to extra innings. The top of the 8th, Clay scores 1. I don't know when some of these, I'll go through the controversial stuff, and I know Steve Moss had some fun on the PA last night, kind of throwing some puns at the umpires. Arnold ties it up in the bottom of the 8th and then goes to the 9th inning. Clay scores another run, and then Arnold has a chance. I'll walk through it here in just a second. But those controversial calls, I don't know which inning it was, but this was just epic by Josh Lindsay. So the home plate umpire, there's a ball hit down the line, down the third base line. The home plate umpire calls that fair. Well, then the third base umpire calls it foul and overrules the home plate umpire.
Which is a rarity, right?
Yeah, because I always thought the home plate umpire was like the white cap in football.
Well, technically, yes, but a lot of the times these guys, at least at the major league level, are going to work on crews. So there's a crew chief, and then he's going to be responsible for the final say-so.
Gotcha, the final
So maybe
decision.
that's what the situation was. And Coach Olds, if you're listening, I'm sure that you could divulge on that a little bit deeper.
Absolutely. So anyway, Lindsay gets sent back to the base, or sent back to the plate after it was called a foul. Guess what he does on the very next pitch?
Well, because I know I won't answer and spoil your...
a little
your
rhetorical question there. Hits a dinger over right field. Crowd goes absolutely insane. I believe that was to tie it up in one of the innings, if I'm not mistaken. There was another controversial call. Well, I don't know if it was really controversial. It sounded like it was a clear call. There was a pickoff attempt for Arnold, and originally the first base umpire called it safe, but everybody was going absolutely nuts. It must have been some kind of really obvious tag. So it goes to the second base umpire. The fact that the first base umpire could not see the tag being applied, that's kind of wild stuff there. But the second base umpire ends up overruling the first base umpire and calls it an out, and I think that got Arnold out of an inning. But then flash forward to the bottom of the 9th. That's what everybody dreams of as a kid. Bottom of the 9th, the bases weren't loaded, but there was a runner on third and first with an opportunity there to end the game, and I appreciate Ian Krelling sending that video that we posted on ESPN last night. Infield hit, scores the run, ball game over. Arnold advances to their first ever state finals in program history. So good luck to the Arnold Marlins as they'll make the trip down to Fort Myers, but kind of two different ends of the spectrum when it came to the two teams still alive in county baseball, in Bay County baseball last night. So great, again, congratulations. That was some exciting stuff right there in our own backyard. So over there at Arnold. So great stuff. We'll keep an eye on the Arnold Marlins. Obviously, they're going to need some help and support to make that trip down there to Fort Myers. I think they had a sign in their outfield, so like 531 miles or something like that is where they'd be going next. So long trip down there to Fort Myers, but a exciting trip on the way down. And who knows, maybe they'll come back with some more hardware.
Yeah.
District champs, regional champs. Hopefully they can add the third leg of that championship, which is state champions. Utah, they got a new home, or new name. Utah,
Did they?
Yeah, Utah Hockey Club is no longer.
What are they?
They are now the Utah Mammoth.
Oh, my God.
I actually liked Utah Hockey Club better than Utah Mammoth.
It's like, I mean, anytime that we go from Washington football team to the Commanders, or, I mean, you know, Cleveland didn't go from the Indians to the baseball team to the Guardians, but daggone, that would have been pretty cool. First off, it's singular, right? You're just the Utah Mammoth. You're one.
Yeah. I guess one. There's no I.
I mean, it's a big animal.
Yeah.
And it's not like Alabama's the Alabama Elephants, which I don't understand why more teams aren't like elephants. That's a great animal.
Powerful animal.
Yeah.
And they run in packs.
And they're smart.
They are very smart. They remember everything.
Yeah.
Playbooks and all that good stuff.
Right. So I was surprised by that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I think you missed out on a... how do you have so much time to pick a name?
13 months.
And you still, like... I want to feel something when you pick a name.
Yeah, not disappointment.
Yeah, and I'm not even a fan.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Crazy stuff. But yes, the Utah Hockey Club is now officially the Utah Mammoth. I'm also remiss, I did not mention the Class 3A Region 1 Championship that ended last night as well. The South Walton Seahawks won 3-0 in the first game, and then they beat Swanee again last night 4-2. So they advance to the state finals down there in Fort Myers as well. I don't think we're too surprised about that one. South Walton's been one of the better teams in the state all year long, so good luck to the South Walton Seahawks on their trip down there to Fort Myers. Maybe bringing back some more hardware here for not Bay County, that's Walton County, but in our listening area. There was a trade that went down this morning, or is going to go down, because it's not official yet, but obviously it is in the works. Kind of surprised with this one for the Pittsburgh Steelers? What do you think, David? Obviously, we're talking about George Pickens being traded to the Dallas Cowboys for a third-round draft pick and some additional pick swaps as well. After neglecting the number 2 receiver spot in free agency in the draft, the Cowboys land a terrific running mate for CeeDee Lamb going into the 2025 season. The Cowboys entered the day with the 10th most cap space in the NFL at $32.3 million. That number will go down to around $28.6 million while factoring in Pickens' $3.7 million cap charge in 2025. So now their wide receiver room looks like George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Tolbert, and Kevontae Turpin. They have others as well, but those are your main 4 guys. And really only leaves, DK Metcalf on the Pittsburgh Steelers and a host of other guys that, really aren't top receivers in the league by any stretch of the imagination.
Sitting there trying to think. I mean, you got the tight end. I'm blanking on his name right now.
Freiermuth.
Yeah, Freiermuth. I was going to say Forsyth.
That's actually one of my doctor's names. But yeah, so what at the Pittsburgh Steelers, who's going to be their quarterback? Aaron Rodgers?
Well, I guess we don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, they got Mason Rudolph right now. They're on the depth chart.
Mason Rudolph. You got. Didn't they draft someone, or am I?
I think they did. I can tell you here in 2 seconds.
Yeah, there you go.
One.
But it does feel like they are going to be
Will Howard.
Will Howard.
Yeah, they also have,
I like that though.
Yeah, they also have Skylar Thompson there on the.
I think Aaron Rodgers. For a year, maybe 2, let Will Howard learn under him. I mean, Will Howard at every level has. He surprised me in the playoffs because of how mundane his regular season was. But he stepped up when he needed to, and I would much rather you look, normal or average or serviceable during the regular season and then come to the playoffs and now all of a sudden you're a beast.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how that plays out. DK Metcalf he's going to make more of a difference the better weapons that you have around him. I'm wondering if Tomlin was like, there's just these guys, their egos are going to collide. I've dealt with that with Le'Veon Bell, and with Antonio Brown, and with George Pickens, and so let's go ahead and nip this in the bud while we can. So I think that the move, George Pickens.
Let me ask you this. Are the Steelers rebuilding for the first time in a long... I don't know if they've ever really
If they get Aaron Rodgers, you can't really consider that a rebuild. You rebuild after Aaron Rodgers leaves your organization, your franchise in shambles.
Yeah.
Which he didn't do that to the Packers necessarily, right?
No.
They kind of bounced right back up. They're really good with their quarterbacks. But I would say that the Jets... But is it Aaron Rodgers' fault that the Jets were in shambles? Because they were already kind of in shambles prior to Aaron Rodgers getting there.
He joined the shambles.
Yeah, he joined the shambles. I don't know. I don't know how this move works out for the Cowboys either. There's also talk of them kind of having a reunion with Amari Cooper via free agency. So we'll see how that plays out. Maybe he can help, get the head of George Pickens on straight. But this could be more of a locker room problematic move than it is, all right, now we have someone to take the pressure off of CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, absolutely. And, is Pickens, maybe he's the right fit there for the crazy things in Dallas. But, looking like the Pittsburgh Steelers. They got DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin III, and who is the other one? Robert Woods, over from the Rams. So those are your top 3 receivers.
Played with the Titans, too.
Yeah, there you go. Scotty Miller there, too, as well. But
I forgot about Scotty Miller going. Actually, no, I didn't even realize that he was over there. They're showing it right now. DK Metcalf, Calvin.
Oh, look at that.
Robert Woods.
We talked about it first.
So they only have really 3... Jalen Warren, that's a running back, but they only have 3 returning receivers from last year, which isn't really that big of a problem because you're bringing in a quarterback. So there's not chemistry that you're worried about. I would say that having wide receivers who are already a part of the system can explain, help the quarterback learn the routes a little bit better. But outside of that, Mike Tomlin's a heck of a coach if we haven't noticed that by now.
No doubt. A heck of a motivational coach for sure. But right now, Mason Rudolph, number 1 on the depth chart. Will Howard's already listed as 2 ahead of Skylar Thompson. Skylar's kind of a bit of a journeyman there as a backup role, but got a lot of playing time down there in Miami with all the Tua injuries. But real quick, before we take a break, did want to give my Coastal Carolina Chanticleers baseball team a shout-out as they finished off the sweep. They played them earlier in the year, and then they beat the Clemson Tigers, 5-3 yesterday to take them down. Coastal is playing great under new head coach as Gary Gilmore retired last season after 29 years leading the Chanticleers. We got to go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to jump in to the NBA action from last night. And boy, was it eventful.
The ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge.
Hi, this is Dave Neat from Panama City Beach, and I just won $250 from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida playing the Big Bracket Challenge. Thank you so much to Pepsi, Panama City, Toyota, UCB Hobby for making this happen. It was a lot of fun playing against other listeners and staff. Can't wait till next year. And go Ducks!
It's ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Wednesday. A possibility of thunderstorms and mostly cloudy this afternoon and evening with a wind coming out of the south-southwest around 8 miles per hour and a high of 81. Tonight, look for light sprinkles and mostly clouds with a temperature near 73. Tomorrow, a high around 78 and mostly clouds in the morning, followed by a likelihood of thunderstorms. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards in Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
That boot store reminds you Mother's Day is just around the corner. Make it a Western Mother's Day by shopping that boot store. You'll find a huge selection of Western wear for the youngest to the oldest mother, and at prices you can afford. Gift certificates are available too, so Mom can shop for herself. That boot store open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 till 5, Friday and Saturday, 9 till 5:30. That boot store next to Bill Bird Kia, 15th Street, Panama City. That boot store, where God is good all the time.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. From the beach to the bay to the backyard, it's the Inside Drive.
I've got sand in my underpants.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget to download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. All you got to do is search up 104.3. We're giving away shirts constantly, it feels right now. I'll say it again. We're the Oprah of t-shirt giving away because everybody can get a t-shirt. All you got to do is make sure you have that free mobile app downloaded. Again, very easy to find. Just search 104.3 in either of the app stores. David, you want to talk about a little event going on for somebody?
Oh, yeah. I was saying next segment, but
okay. I listened to next as next, the one coming up.
But that's perfect. Tonight at the captain table, Braxton's fight against cancer. It's going to open up at 4 p.m. I've got a buddy, Jimmy Horn. He coaches the Panama City Hurricanes, and he had the same exact form of cancer. I believe he's in remission right now, but he was fighting for a very long time. So shout out to Jimmy Horn and the Panama City Hurricanes. Braxton Abbott, a bright young player on the 11U Hurricanes baseball team, has been diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma as his family travels to Shands Hospital in Gainesville, Florida for treatment. They face emotional and financial challenges. A portion of proceeds from this event will support the family, and additional donations are welcomed via Venmo at Marian Mercer. It's MARIAN-Mercer-1. Every contribution helps and is truly appreciated. If you need that Venmo, you can text us at 850-215-6290, and we will help you guys out. Otherwise, go to Captain's Table tonight. Opens up at 4 p.m. Go when you want to. A portion of those proceeds will go to help Braxton Abbott and his battle against cancer.
Ugh, I hate to hear that. But go out and support, pray, all those things go a long way. Can I just say, F cancer, man.
You can say that.
It's the more you're involved in this, you realize how many people it truly affects. And it's not just affecting the person that's dealing with it. It's affecting everybody around them, their family, their friends. Horrible, horrible diseases. And I know there's a lot of people working in the background to hopefully find some cures for some of these awful things. I know, I hope and pray every day that they'll find some cures for brain cancer.
Yeah.
As that's one of the ones that's just that stupid blood-brain barrier prevents a lot of things from getting in there, which is good and bad depending on that situation.
Right.
But anyway, we got to talk about some more exciting stuff. But again, get out to Captain's Table tonight. You got to eat dinner anyway, so you might as well eat dinner and support a wonderful, wonderful cause.
And get you some good food, too.
Yeah, no doubt. Captain's Table is fantastic. But anyway, speaking of fantastic, a couple exciting NBA games last night. I will start, because I know you're going to tee up that clip for me here in just a minute. We're going to start on the Warriors-Timberwolves side. Apparently, if you're a road team in this round of the playoffs, it's working great. And Doc A called it last night. He told us to bet these two teams, and it did come to fruition. And the Warriors even did it without Steph Curry for most of that game.
Yeah, what? When he went down, I actually was taking the Timberwolves on a couple of bets. So when he went down, I was like, I hate that Steph Curry's going down. But
betting-wise, let's go. I mean, he did score 13 points in the short amount of time he was in the game. But Buddy Hield and Jimmy Butler kind of picked up the slack, with Buddy Hield scoring 24 points and Jimmy Butler scoring 20. But it was the Warriors' defense that really won them the game. The Minnesota Timberwolves really just couldn't get anything going. Ant-Man tried his best, scored 23 points, had 13 defensive rebounds, 14 rebounds overall. He played a great game, but at the end of the day, the Warriors won 99-88. Another road team. That was the third series that the road team won the first game. And then, of course, we got to talk about the big play by the overrated guy, the most overrated player in the NBA.
According to 99 players or 90 players in the NBA, according to Mr. Max Delight. No, he did not. He didn't say.
He brought it up.
He brought it up. No doubt. We're not being hostile over this way. But, I mean, what a game that was last night. And it felt like, for me, watching late in that game, as a Pacers fan, the Cavaliers showed to be one of the best teams in the league this year. And, Doc A was telling us they might be a little overrated. That record might be a little inflated. But still, looking at them as the best team, and we still game one, deserved game one. Yeah. And then come into game two, I'm like, hey, the fact that it's just like a 7-point deficit right now, and hey, the Cavaliers missing Mobley, they're missing Darius Garland. They were missing a nice chunk of their offense, but still for the Pacers to battle back being down that late, and then some dumb plays by the Cavaliers, just calling it black and white.
Pissing away the game.
Yeah, that was tough, but what a shot by Tyrese Halliburton in the celebration afterwards, showing how big of a man he is.
No doubt. The only other time the Pacers had a lead, which was very early in the game when they were up 7-2, then it went to 7-4. At one point in the second quarter, with 11:26 to go, Cleveland was up 35-17 and had a 93% chance to win. And then flash forward to the end of the third quarter, basically start of the fourth quarter, Cleveland was up by 14 at that point and had a 96.5% chance of winning. And then we obviously know the rest was kind of history. The Cavs were up 20 in the third quarter.
Yeah.
They were up 13 with 11 minutes left. They were up 7 with 48 seconds left to go in the game. They were up 5 with 28 seconds left to go in the game.
Chip it away, baby.
And then obviously ended up losing by 1. Obviously, Halliburton's game winner capped off one of the wildest chokes in playoff history. Naismith's dunk, which was amazing off that free throw with 47 seconds left.
Barely coming off the rim.
Yeah, and just, why aren't you guys boxing out? That was terrible. Yeah. Mitchell's offensive foul with 46 seconds left in the game. And then one of the worst plays you're going to see in NBA playoffs, the inbounds turnover with 28 seconds left to go.
And Mitchell did get hurt a little bit or banged up a little bit on Naismith's dunk right there. But yes, I mean, the inbounds pass was probably the most egregious out of all of the, you should have boxed out, but
The inbounds play.
Oh my gosh, right to them hard.
That's basic. That's basic there. You just don't make that pass. And then, of course, Tyrese Halliburton goes up, gets fouled. He's got 2 free throws, makes the first one. Second one's a little short, but guess who gets the rebound? Tyrese Halliburton.
Yes.
With 10 seconds left to go. You thought they were going to call a timeout. They didn't. He goes back behind the three-point line, dribbles up a little bit, steps back, drains it, and crazy stuff there. I think we got a clip from the Indianapolis radio announcers there, kind of breaking down what we just talked about.
Doesn't have a timeout, so they'll have to make a successful inbound from the baseline, and then the Pacers will try to force a turnover. Failing that, they would undoubtedly foul. Second one is short, and it's rebounded by Halliburton. The Pacers have a timeout. Will they use it? No, they don't. Yes, they do have a timeout. 4 seconds to go. Halliburton for 3! 3 ball! Up top! Indiana by 1! 1 and 1/10 seconds to go. Inbound. Merrill didn't get it off, and this rivals the Milwaukee finish.
You have got to be kidding me.
Gotta love that. Gotta love when the radio announcers make those kind of calls. I mean, that's what you dream of as a play-by-play guy. David, obviously, you can attest to that. Wildest part of this whole situation, teams down 7+ points with a minute left in the playoffs since 1997 are now 3 and 1,640. The craziest part, the Pacers have 2 of those, and it's both been in the last week.
Yeah.
The cardiac kids finding ways to win games they probably shouldn't. Now they head back to Indianapolis with a 2-0 lead, and they could potentially, at home. I don't want to jinx anything, but we all know what could happen. We all know what could happen, but also the Cavs could win 2 road games again and head back up there to
get home field or home court advantage back. But they're going to be heading back into a raucous environment. I mean, Indiana fans love basketball, and the further they can get on here. And let's not forget, everyone called last year a fluke for the Pacers getting to the finals, getting to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yes.
But in that series against Boston, they lost all 4 games that they lost were like by a combined of 7 or 13 points, a very low number to lose 4 games by. Yeah. So they hung tight with the eventual NBA champions. Then they start out slow this year, but found a way after Christmas, essentially, to just down the stretch. I believe they were 17-3 the final 20 games of the season. So they're really underrated to a large extent, and we'll see how the rest of this series plays out. But back-to-back years going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now it's not the West, I will give you that, but that's not a fluke if they get back there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's without a true superstar. I mean, you could say Tyrese Halliburton is there, but he's not. What I love about Tyrese Halliburton is he's a guy who facilitates first and scores later, but also he's clutch. And that's huge, man, to have a guy who's got the stones, if you will, to step up and knock down a shot in the final 4 seconds. I mean, I will take that any daggum day. Yeah. And to have a point guard who cares more about distributing the ball than he does, hey, I'm going to put this team on my shoulders and I'll score every bucket. I love it, man. I love the team basketball, the defense, the hustle, and the quickness, the tempo that the Indiana Pacers provide.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think maybe these NBA guys that did the voting are regretting giving Tyrese Halliburton a bunch of fuel heading right in there to the playoffs, as he has certainly not looked overrated and come up big, not just for his team, but for the whole area of Indianapolis. And he gets to go back home to that crowd, and what a special game that's going to be coming up in a couple nights. We got a couple games coming up tonight. We'll jump into those a little bit later on, probably in the final segment, breaking them down. But just real quick, the games that are indeed coming up tonight. I believe we got 2. No, we got 2 on the docket. That's right. We got the Knicks and the Celtics. Knicks got a 1-0 series lead in that. Can the road team continue to win games? We'll find out. And then, of course, the Nuggets and the Thunder. Nuggets have a 1-0 lead in that one. Another road team getting it done. Can they continue this trend of 2-0 leads for the road teams? We shall find out. We'll do some picks a little bit later on in the show, probably in that final segment. There was some hockey played last night as well. Yeah, a little surprising there, a little surprising. We got some hockey coming up tonight as well. But the Jets and the Stars get underway tonight, and then the Game 2 of the Leafs-Panthers series also gets underway tonight. I believe the early game is the Leafs and the Panthers. Toronto actually leads that one 1-0. People are a little surprised at that one. I think a lot of the bettors were surprised as well. The Caps and the Hurricanes, that got underway last night. Went into overtime, just fitting. Very defensive. The NHL playoffs have been kind of feast or famine. We've had high-scoring games, and then we've had these really low-scoring defensive contested games. And the Carolina Hurricanes ended up getting the best of the Washington Capitals last night in overtime with that 2-1 victory. Came on the excuse me.
Came on the heels.
Came on the heels with the heel of the stick. Maybe the heel of, forget who scored it there in overtime.
Oh, who was it that scored it? Because I changed the game as soon as the goal was scored. Because I put like a little late parlay in for the Knights. The Knights ended up losing. That was a heck of a win by Edmonton. I'm sure we'll dive into that.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
Once they went into overtime, I was like, I'll do a parlay with the Timberwolves, the Capitals, and the Golden Knights, and all three of them.
All three, yeah. If you just,
that's the flip lay.
Yes, you should get like your money back when that happens.
Yeah, right. I like that idea, or a bonus bet.
It doesn't even have to be real money. It could just be a bonus bet. Logan Stankoven is the one that tied it in the third period, a little before halfway through, and then Jacob Slavin with 3:06 left in the overtime period scored that one to beat the Washington Capitals on their home ice. And maybe the sports books knew with Washington going into the first game last night had the worst odds. I think they're plus 1,000 to win the Stanley Cup final.
Al just made that ice too nice.
Yeah, the ice was too nice. This is very weird and ironic. It has nothing to do with sports, but one of my best friend from college is going to come visit in July, and I was talking to him the other day, and his son is playing ice hockey, which is kind of funny. But his son, they play at the rink the Capitals practice at.
Oh, cool.
And they get to watch the Capitals practice and all that stuff. And I was like, well, we got this guy who's, the lead ice technician up there for the Capitals. And I was like, man, that is some crazy small world stuff there.
Yeah.
That is for sure. But getting to the other game that went down last night, Edmonton Oilers, it's kind of been their thing. When they're down, don't count them out.
Which I believe Vegas going into this game was undefeated when they score first.
Yes, which they scored first and second in that first goal very early in the game, just 2 minutes and 13 seconds into that one. Mark Stone got the Knights on the board with a power play goal, and then Mark Stone added a second one about halfway through the period. Jack Eichel got another assist in that one. Vegas carries a 2-0 lead late into that third period, or into that first period. Corey Perry added a goal there. Great goal, by the way. He kind of came around the net and buried an assist for McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. When you score late in a period, that just changes all the momentum going to the life. It's like scoring a touchdown when at the end of the half or whatever it may be. And you go into that locker room, you're like, all right, we were down 2-0. We got outplayed that entire period. But guess what? We're only down a goal. No goals scored in that second period, and then here come the Oilers. Leon Draisaitl, just 57 seconds into the period, ties the game up with another assist from Evan Bouchard and Connor McDavid. He's got 11 assists already in this postseason.
Dude's pretty good.
He's not bad.
Him,
I've heard his name a few times. He's not too shabby, that is for sure. And then Zach Hyman, he scores one, assisted by Evander Kane and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Popped it in there.
He did, and Edmonton took a 3-2 lead at that point, and then added one more to put the icing on top of the cake. Connor Brown scored his fourth goal of the playoffs to put the Oilers up 4-2, and gives them a 1-0 series lead. Another road team winning the first game of the series, with Edmonton beating the Golden Knights 4-2. Not really. That's a great series. I think this series, a couple of these series will probably, Carolina Capitals may go 7 games. I mean, obviously they all may go 7 games, but I think some of these are going to be a lot closer than we think.
Yeah, we had my guy on, Andrew Weiss, yesterday, and he was saying the ones in the East look to be a little bit more Game 7 type series, and then the ones in the West maybe not so. But I mean, I don't know. I really like every single series that we have here, because with Winnipeg and Dallas, who get underway tonight, right?
Yep.
Winnipeg riding the momentum, or are they riding the tiredness from their 2 double overtime Game 7 win against St. Louis? So it'll be interesting to see what kind of energy they have after just getting one day off from that, very emotional type game. And then when you look at Vegas and Edmonton, I mean, all the star power is right there. Carolina is a team who they just don't seem to... They get to the Eastern Conference Finals and then just kind of fizzle out.
Yeah.
So can they get back there this year? Or is Ovi and the Capitals going to put the exclamation point on 895 or overtaking Wayne Gretzky, rather? And then when you look at Toronto and Florida, I mean, Toronto rarely gets out of the first round. Florida looking to defend the Stanley Cup. I mean, that's the worst series for me because I wish that neither team could move on. You know what I mean? I hate Toronto and I hate Florida. But... it is one of those, I think it's going to be one of the better series. But of the 4 series, I think my favorite one is going to be Vegas and Edmonton. I think that's just all the star power that comes there.
A lot of star power on those 2 teams.
Listen, watching Connor McDavid play hockey is special.
He's so fast.
Yeah.
And it's effortless speed, too, as well. He's just powerful skater and just... I wouldn't want to be a defender on him, backing up with him coming full speed down the neutral zone into my defensive zone, knowing you're probably going to get beat. The the Toronto and Florida game coming up tonight. Anthony Stolarz, the starting goalie there, still out. I don't know if they haven't really said what the deal is. NHL's a little different with the injury reports. A lot of times it's lower body, upper body.
Yeah, they don't have to. It's just lower.
Yeah, they don't have to disclose. So this is technically an upper body injury, but his estimated return date is May 9th. So he will not be playing in tonight's Game 2 against the Florida Panthers. Will that make a big difference? I don't know. When you're riding your starting goalies going into these playoffs, sometimes an injury. Carey Price, who got injured in that Montreal series many, many years ago, that made a big difference and ended up going out at that point. Not that their backup goalie's any slouch, but your starting goalie's the one that's kind of got you there. But speaking of getting you there, we got to take a quick break. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Beach Pizza, formerly Marcy's Pizza, is back with more hours and more pizza. Beach Pizza has new owners and now open every day, 11 to 11. Pizza by the slice, whole pies, wings, pretzels, garlic knots, and more choice eats in East PCB. I finally tried a slice, and it was a thin crust, totes, cheesy slice of paradise. 8815 B Thomas Drive, online at beachpizzapcb.com. Call ahead, 850-775-4053.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction, be part of a winning team.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Golf Plus studios. For the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey and Jay Henley.
This man is destroying golf. You may be right, but our ratings are up and we're attracting new youthful sponsors.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Come on. Welcome back to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. I wasn't going to be able to hold that accent through that whole thing. That's just a couple here and there. If it was a different accent, I might have been able to do it. I was talking earlier, I was giving Beth a big shout out about these posts she's sharing daily about kind of our journey and everything she's learned in hopes of potentially helping other people. And there's a few people that have reached out to her thus far, but she literally just texted me a few minutes ago, 2 more people that just reached out. I'm going to share that as well. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because I encourage people going through all this stuff, even though it's life-changing, the end result may not be what we all want. But if we can help some people along the way, I mean, that's what you got to do, right? That's what you have to do.
100%, man. Creating awareness is a huge ordeal.
No doubt. And just like you were saying in the last one, helping these kids out. God, kids and cancer is just a horrible, horrible thing. But anyway, I want to read these couple messages that she got. Hi, Beth. Can I please share the info on your Day 6 post for brain cancer awareness with my support network? You have worded it so well. I'm doing a challenge brain cancer for the month of May to raise awareness for brain cancer, and this is just the info I'd like to share on my group page, with your permission and taking out personal references, of course. The other one, hi, my name is Michelle. I just read your story about the day your husband was diagnosed, and I can't stop crying. It is nearly identical to ours, and I feel as if I've been frozen since April 2nd. So much has happened in a little over a month, and our life is forever changed. On April 12th, we learned that treatment plan is now as he is in rehab now, recovering from surgeries. I have been researching and looking into a facility in Tampa, Mayo in Scottsdale, and another in Houston. I am wondering if you could possibly share your treatment path and if you have felt hope with it. So 2 people reaching out today just because of those posts.
Such a powerful word right there, hope.
Hope indeed. It's what you got to basically cling on to.
Yeah, and you got to have people, you got to have your support system who also are hopeful and hoping for the best and prayer warriors. Beth is such a strong woman, and to see, all of the intimate details that she shares, with all of us on Facebook, because people ask me, and I'm like, listen, you just watch Facebook.
Yeah, and it's such an easy platform to update and of course raise awareness.
Yeah,
which
and I
is
think that's
going
a big,
on right now.
Right, man. Just you guys, obviously, it goes without saying, but y'all mean the world to me, and so to be a part of this journey, which.
Well, and you were at the beginning of this journey as well, and I'm forever thankful for obviously you and Jay for your quick actions when all that crap was going down, and I can never wear that Niners that Niners thing ever again because I've got some serious PTSD when
and Celsius. Man.
Yeah, I haven't had a Celsius since that day, and there's no link to Celsius to what happened.
Right, but it's like eating food and getting food poisoning. Yep. You're like, I'm good on that.
Yes, on the alcohol side of things, early in college, I had too much Captain Morgan. I haven't had a sip of Captain Morgan since that day.
I know that all too well.
It does not sit well with me.
Yeah.
Although he was famous more for putting his leg up and not sitting down, but that's a whole other different story.
That's why they called me Captain David.
Captain
Dave.
Yeah.
I didn't captain no boat or nothing like that, but.
And their slogan, what, you and the captain make it happen. Sometimes it's not a happening that you want to have happen. But I want to jump in talk about the NCAA regionals in the golf world going on right now.
In the golf world? I thought that was up for sale.
I think they're bankrupt, but I saw the commissioners were going to try to intervene a little bit. So, hopefully they can make some things change over there, at least in the interim, till maybe it doesn't become an existing business anymore.
Oh, Steph Curry's out for game 2. Just got the update through. So
thank you.
Grade 1 hamstring strain.
The lower the grade, the better it is, right? Yeah, like a grade 3 would be real bad. So hopefully he can rehab real quick and be back maybe for game 3, which I'm sure is coming up sometime this weekend. Your number 3 ranked Florida State women's golf team looks like they're going to pull this thing together and win the Lexington Regional, as they are currently 18 under par on the heels of a 7 under round in round 1, a 7 under round in round 2, and they're currently 4 under par with anywhere from 4 or no hole or 1 hole left to go. And they've currently got a 7-shot lead over number 2 in the field, Kansas State, and then Georgia Southern hanging in there at number 3 up there in Statesboro, Georgia. They're currently 10 under par. USC, Southern California USC, is currently 6 under par. And then last but not least, the Vanderbilt Commodores got that 5th and final spot with a +1 so far. So hopefully it'll happen. That's not a jinx. They'll get it done. They ain't going anywhere. Lottie Woad, number 2 ranked college golfer in the country, is currently 12 under par and tied with Carla Burnett from Kansas State for the individual championship as well at that Lexington Regional. And then Mirabelle Ting, Florida State all ACC.
Or that Ting, man.
Yeah, just like the intro. Mirabelle Ting, who's the number 1 ranked golfer in college and was the ACC Golfer of the Year, is in solo 3rd at 9 under par. These girls are just lighting it up on this golf course. So we'll keep you posted. Obviously, tomorrow the final results, well, actually probably in an hour or two, the final results will be posted. But that FSU women's golf team with Amy Bond coming on the show all the time, kind of a near and dear to our hearts. So we appreciate. I'm sure we'll get Amy on the show sometime before they head out there to Palm Desert out in California. Moving over to the Charlottesville, Virginia regional, Southern SEC team, South Carolina, the women's golf team, they're currently ranked number 4 in the country, are leading the regional by a handed 12 strokes, as they're the only team under par at -4. I think the weather conditions up there right now are pretty rainy and nasty. They shot 7 under in the first round and then followed up with +2, and they're currently +1 finishing up their round today. But it looks like South Carolina, Virginia, Ole Miss, Florida, and UCLA, the teams in the top 5 right now. And then outside of that, they'll get cut, and there's a big gap between UCLA and NC State at 14 over and 24 over. So it looks like those teams will likely be moving on. All right, what other regionals we got here? We got the Columbus Regional. That's up there in Columbus, Ohio, hosted by Ohio State. 2 teams under par in that one. You got the Kansas Jayhawks currently at 5 under par, followed by SEC women's golf team Arkansas Razorbacks, who are number 2 in the country. They're -1 for the tournament, followed by home team Ohio State, UNLV, and LSU in the top 5 right now. One thing I'm noticing again, David, a lot of SEC teams in the mix in these NCAA regionals.
Wonder why.
Yeah, wonder. And then over there in the...
It just means more, dadgummit.
Even on the golf course.
Even on the golf course.
Even on the golf
Swimming pools don't matter what. I mean, dadgum, we never even talked about it on the show. This is not necessarily current SEC, and sorry to interrupt, but Katie Ledecky, the swimmer, she's like, I don't, she's very old for swimming-wise or whatever. I don't mean that disrespectfully at all. Yeah. But she was setting records the other day.
Yep.
Just wild. We got some great swimmers.
Most decorated swimmer in U.S. swimming history, I believe. Even better than Michael Phelps. The NCAA Gold Canyon Regional, which is out there at Superstition Mountain Golf Club, and that's in Apache Junction, Arizona. Everybody knows where that is. The Oregon Ducks, Dave Neat would be excited. They are currently 7 under par. They still have a good long way in the final round, as that is out there an hour or two before us. Oklahoma State in 2nd, Arizona State 3rd, Mississippi State in 4th, and then Cal State Fullerton is locked down at number 5 right now at +17, but Auburn is right there outside of the cut line at 18 under par, so still a lot that could transpire in that one if the Auburn Tigers can make a little bit of a run and put the pressure on Cal State Fullerton and maybe sneak into that 5th and final spot before the cut. And then what else we got? We got the Lubbock Regional, which is probably hosted by Texas Tech. If I had to guess, that's the Rawls course at Texas Tech. So yes, indeed. Wake Forest, currently 2 under par right now, leading the regional, followed by Texas, Iowa State, Tennessee, and Purdue. But Purdue is currently tied with Texas A&M, and UC Davis is only a stroke back of that 25 over par. Even now, you got Florida Gulf Coast floating around there too. They're probably a little too far back right now to finish up and make a run, as it is officially over out there in the Lubbock Regional. They got started a day earlier. They played Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, so they are officially done. So that means Wake Forest, Texas, Iowa State, Tennessee, and Purdue will will move on to the NCAA National Championship, as each regional takes 5 teams, 6 times 5, 30 all day, and that's how many teams make it to the National Championship. They got multiple rounds of stroke play, then cut it down, another round of stroke play, cut it down to the top 8, and they all go play match plays. An absolute grueling national championship when it comes to women's golf and the men's golf. They play the exact same thing. Last but not least, we got the Norman Regional, obviously Oklahoma hosting that one. That is the Jimmy Austin Oklahoma Golf Club. Right now, Stanford, the Cardinals, they're the number 1 team in the nation and the number 1 team in the regional at 23 under par. This one is also finished up as well. Round 1, they shot 12 under. Round 2, 4 under, and then finished up earlier today with a 7 under par final round. Northwestern holding down number 2 at -14. Sparty, Michigan State, -1 in the 4th spot. Oklahoma finished even par at their own regional and are ending up going to the national championship, followed by the Baylor Bears at +3. We'll keep you updated tomorrow on the final results of the ones still going on, as like I said, each of those teams in the top 5 will move on to the national championship, which is coming up May 16th through Wednesday, May 21st, right around the corner. Looking forward to that very much. Stanford, number 1 team in the country, trying to defend their national championship, but I'm hoping Florida State can make it to that championship match again. They did last year and just came up against that buzzsaw known as Stanford. But hopefully Amy and the rest of the team can get a good shot at it this year. I think this is probably the best team they've had in a long time, with Lottie and Mirabelle on there. So,
Ding.
Yes. But, and then the men's will follow right after. I believe the regional selection show, I think, is this weekend, and then they jump into the same pattern as the women. It's just a week later. So we'll keep you posted on that. Maybe try to get, I haven't had him on the show in a while, and that's Coach Trey Jones. Haven't had him in a long time, but would love to get him on there. David Hayes, you want to hear a fun fact for
fun facts.
For Grand Theft Auto?
Oh, well, it's not coming out for a year and 19 days.
Yes. Next year it is indeed coming out, but
they'll push it back.
Probably. But it plays right into that. GTA 6 has taken longer to develop and cost more than it took to build, if I pronounce this wrong, I apologize, the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. The Burj Khalifa cost $1.5 billion and took 6 years to build. GTA 6 estimated will cost $2 billion and 13 years of time frame, with the full production being 8 years long.
Golly. How
are they spending that much money on a video game? How are they going to recruit
seen it?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the trailers. It's insane, but
yeah. I don't know how they're going to recoup $2 billion, but the game sells for so long, and then people in-game spending money and all of that stuff.
Yeah, that's true. The in-game purchases
yeah,
I forget about.
It's absolutely, seeing some of the trailers is wild, but you know how long systems normally last? Like the Xbox 360, normally they go about 8 years.
Yeah.
Right? So it's taken Grand Theft Auto 5 came out on the Xbox 360, went through the Xbox One.
Yep.
And then is now in, the almost to the second portion of the Xbox X and PS5 and stuff like that. So, wow. I mean, there's a chance if they keep on playing around that it'll be onto the Xbox 2 or whatever it may be.
Yeah, no doubt. A mere 29 million copies would need to be sold to break even with that $2 billion.
They're going to sell that.
They'll probably do when you put it in those kind of terms, they'll probably end up making some good money on this particular game. Probably the most anticipated release in a long time.
They could say, we're not even going to put this game out digitally for the first year, and you have to go to a physical store to buy it, and in the first day, they would sell out 29 million copies.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
You're probably right. But we got to go ahead and take a quick break. Top of the hour coming up. We'll be joined by Keith Fleming, who is on quite the heater, picking winners on his betting card. You listen to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
It's all a bunch of crap, man. I mean, NCAA is a bunch of crap.
But different line says, one is unbelievable, amazing, incredible, legendary. Then ... I'm a time guy.
And then you got Wildcat flipping on the bird, and then that number one.
You don't know what I put up with this, man.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Wednesday. A possibility of thunderstorms and mostly cloudy this afternoon and evening with a wind coming out of the south-southwest around 8 miles per hour and a high of 81. Tonight, look for light sprinkles and mostly clouds with a temperature near 73. Tomorrow, a high around 78 and mostly clouds in the morning, followed by a likelihood of thunderstorms. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Tired of flipping through channels and finding nothing good? Introducing Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch 400 local network channels from Panama City and most markets throughout the country. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. It's more than sports. Scorpion TV offers premium movie channels like HBO, Cinemax, Stars, 200 plus entertainment and news networks, or watch thousands of movies on demand, all for just $45 a month when you use the ESPN NW promo code at checkout. Watch on up to 5 devices at the same time. Perfect for sharing with family and friends. Scorpion TV gives you everything you want for less. Cut the cord, not the fun. To score Scorpion TV, go to ESPNPC.com and click on the Scorpion TV logo. Don't forget our promo code ESPN NW.
WGSX Lynn Haven, W Field, Q Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus Studios. It's the Inside Drive. And now, the afternoon delight debrief with the three degenerates from the Inside Drive.
Afternoon delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 in Panama City Beach, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. If you want a free t-shirt, you have to have our free mobile app downloaded in order to enter those contests. You can head over to your Google Play or Apple Store, whichever one is your flavor. Click the Enter Contest button, and we're giving away T-shirts all the time. So make sure you got that free mobile app downloaded. We got to get him an intro.
Great minds think alike, because I was just thinking the same thing. I was like, man, we got to have an intro for Keith Fleming.
No doubt. He's like an OG. Him and Doc A have been around since the get-go almost. Doc A was a little bit later on, because Keith was the one that actually introduced me to Doc A, and I am forever grateful for that, because he's been a wonderful contributor here to the Inside Drive. And speaking of wonderful contributors to the Inside Drive, Keith, we had a lot of fun last night on the Two Off the Tee podcast, which you can find on all your Apple or Spotify or whatever podcast you use. We prefer you watch it on Apple and Spotify. If you want to watch it on YouTube, that works too, but the Apple and Spotify, the more views we get, the more stuff we got going on, the better it is for us. I shared it earlier on Facebook. I'd appreciate it if you shared it as well. But Keith, that was fun last night. We had Greg Descharnes on the show with us. Great job getting him lined up. He's a Sirius XM guy with the Michael Breed podcast. I forget the official name of it. But Keith, long time no talk. How we doing?
Yeah, doing great. Greg's story, of course, with me and any show, it went long, so I didn't really get into that with him. I was going to talk to him about at the end of it, but, he's been with Michael Breed now for over a decade, and he started with him at Golf Channel, and then literally when Breed left Golf Channel, which I think he said was 2018, he was working out of Michael Breed's basement for a few years, like starting the Sirius XM show, plus they do stuff on his Breed's YouTube page, instructional stuff, and just kind of a fascinating rise for him to being a pretty big voice and obviously the golf sports world.
Yeah, fun fact, I applied when Michael Breed left the green grass business. I actually applied for his job. He was the head pro or director of golf. I forget the course. Westchester Country Club sounds familiar, but somewhere in that little New York state area. But so what do you got? I did bring that up last night, but obviously did not get that job. That was a big time job up there, and ended up not working out. But I think everything worked out just fine. Keith, I know we'll get into our DFS and betting picks here in just a little bit, but there's a topic which is kind of hot right now in golf that you want to dive into.
Yeah, it's what a time to be a golf fan. The PGA Tour sort of almost feeling like it's having a renaissance, if you will, where if you look, the ratings have consistently been up for the last 6-7 weeks each tournament. And a big reason is obviously Rory's huge win at Augusta. He already had 2 wins, heading into that event. JT, getting back in the winner circle after, almost 2 years without one. And then, of course, we spent last week on the podcast talking about how we felt like Scotty Scheffler needed to win. And, oh, boy.
We brought that to fruition. He listens to our podcast and the radio show because he felt it. He felt our push to get him over that winner. And did he ever win handedly in the breaking records along the way as well?
Yeah, who doesn't, go out and shoot 4 straight rounds of 61, 63, 66, 63. That's the way I normally play when I'm playing Tiger Woods on the old Xbox. But it was really impressive. And for me, it just screams, again, I think Scheffler is such an underrated competitor because that was a non-signature event. If we're being honest, it was a pretty weak field, like one of the weaker ones, especially with all these signature events and obviously the Masters, just in our rearview mirror, the players. And it didn't matter. Scheffler went out there and was like, look, I haven't won now in almost 8 months. This guy Rory's getting all this attention. I'm the best golfer in the world. I'm the number 1 ranked golfer in the world. And he went out and thumped the field so bad that he almost won the tournament. Just on his front 9 score alone, he was 22 under. For the 4 days on the front side. Only Eric Van Rooyen, who finished second in the tournament at 23 under, bested Scheffler's front 9. And then, of course, he was 9 under on the back 9 as well to be 31 under. And Van Rooyen shot a 8 under 63 on Sunday and did not pick up 1 stroke on the leader, Scotty Scheffler, who started the round 8 strokes ahead. So we have these 2 unbelievable forces in golf. I feel like they're both in their prime. I just think Rory, had so many mental issues. I don't mean that from a sense of he's crazy or anything like that, or having
mental blocks on the golf course.
Correct. Yes, he was his own worst enemy in so many ways, and we talked at length that how freeing it had to be for him to win at Augusta. I mean, he's been winning in bunches anyway. It's just been at the biggest tournament, so I'm sure. This huge weight is off his chest moving forward.
Which is scary.
And then Scotty Scheffler is unlike any player we've seen since Tiger, at least to start their career this way. Already 14 wins. He just passed Jordan Spieth for the amount of PGA Tour wins, which Spieth is a good decade older than Scheffler. And this guy's, I think, 27 or 28 years old. This is only really his 4th full year on the PGA Tour. And it feels like we're in this place where these guys are going to duel the rest of the season. And it's so ironic because Rory's had an unbelievable start to the season, played 6 times, won 3 of them at Pebble, Sawgrass, Augusta, 4 top 5s in those 6 events, his worst finish at T17. This was Scheffler last year, who through 9 events, he had 3 wins, Bay Hill, also at Sawgrass, Augusta, 8 top 10s, 6 top 5s, and his worst finish was T17. So it seems like they're kind of topping each other at this point, who can be better. And as a golf fan, I can't wait to see these guys hopefully mix it up in a major, because if you look at it, they're both constantly up near the top anyway, but I just feel from a confidence standpoint, these guys are at a different level than, anybody else in golf, no offense to Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Thomas, or any of the others.
Yeah, I mean, and it couldn't have come at a better time for the PGA Tour, in my opinion, because obviously they've been kind of struggling, maybe not be the right word, but with all the live stuff and then the Monahan stuff, putting Rory up there as the fall guy for the PGA Tour obviously messed with him as well. But ratings were down, sponsors are being dropped, and then all of a sudden you've got the Scotty and Rory show coming to fruition, and people are tuning in to watch it, and I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon, but certainly great timing for the PGA Tour, because I haven't really heard them talk about the merger in pretty much a couple months now. So maybe we're putting that behind, and maybe this is the new direction of the PGA Tour, and it doesn't include the LIV guys.
And what's interesting is we're finding out that a lot of the LIV guys have outs in their contract coming up in the next year or two, and you would just assume the PGA Tour is now dealing from a place of strength and then in negotiations, because it's like, look, we've kind of recovered from, all these defections, and people are watching again. They're talking about it. Tournaments are getting like 80,000 people. Now, granted, they're on FS1. It's not like it's a major network, but you would hope they get a little bit more than that, like with Bryson in the lead on Sunday and winning the tournament this past week at the LIV. And why would they rush when they know that a lot of these guys really, from what I've heard, other than Rahm, who apparently, I guess because he was the last guy to get a monster number, he's actually, I think, signed on for like 5-10 years, like Koepka, Bryson, a lot of these guys will be coming up in a year or two, and I would be shocked if they didn't come back, because they've already got the money from LIV, right? So why would you not walk back?
If the tour allows them to come back, that I think is going to be...
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think that they will, as long as you're not letting everybody come back, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not just... It's not an open thing. It's almost like a free agent deal is what I feel like. Now, you are right, though, that they said at the time, like, look, you leave, don't let the door hit you on the way back, on the way out. Like, you're not coming back. But I find it hard to believe that Bryson DeChambeau in 2 years is like, hey, I want to come back to the PGA Tour. They're going to say no, and this guy has millions of followers on YouTube. And now if you get him in the mix every week with these guys, because he's also playing really well, now the PGA Tour, I mean, I don't remember, I guess the VJ, Tiger, Phil kind of era was the last time you had that amount of stars playing really well for a several-year period.
Well, I was thinking about it last night when we were talking about, the duel situation. Could you throw David Duval in the mix there with Tiger? Because David Duval was kind of on the scene already when Tiger came in, and they had some duels, so to speak, in some of the majors. Obviously, Duval kind of dealt with the vertigo and all that stuff, and his career kind of fell off.
Which is crazy. People don't remember how good he was.
Oh, he was
fantastic.
fantastic.
A 2-year stretch where he was beating Tiger, when Tiger was not technically in his prime. When Duval kind of started to falter, that's when Tiger really exploded like that. Because it was 01, 02, right, when Duval started having the issues.
Yep. I remember it was an Open Championship, I think, where he gave Tiger, I think he ended up winning that one and gave Tiger a run for his money. He was really one of the only guys that seemed to be able to challenge Tiger without the fear that a lot of the other guys had.
And he was really popular, so I think that's a good point. You know what I mean? Because that's what it's about. I mean, golf a lot of times reminds me of wrestling, in the sense that professional wrestling I'm talking about, WWE goes through this all the time, where, big stars will either leave, they'll retire, they'll fade out, and there's that weird awkward period, right? Because fans are like, well, who are we going to root for? Who's the star? Who's the main attraction? And I think that's what the PGA Tour is obviously going through, or was, with the fact that they lost. They did. LIV, I mean, it wasn't a crippling blow, but a lot of the biggest stars did leave, the biggest names, the biggest draws, and it takes time to build those guys back up again, just like in professional wrestling. And the next thing you know, it's another boom period, because it's actually younger guys, right? Because it's usually the young guys that grab the mantle.
The natural cycle of professional sports, for sure.
The circle of life.
The circle
David,
of life.
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely, brother.
No, this is my show.
So, never mind. Ryan said no. He put a halt to it.
Just kidding. Go.
I guess so much for all that Keith's been with us from the beginning.
Yeah, well, it only lasts so long.
They said, don't start trying to make decisions now. Let's make decisions. My show. You're a casual golf fan.
Yeah.
What are just your overall thoughts of Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler? What do you think when you hear those guys' names, or you think about them?
I mean, with Rory, it's almost like a try hard. but I don't think that that's his fault as much as it is with the breakup and the guys going to the Live Tour and Rory kind of being thrust into the being the face of the franchise, if you will, face of the tour. I think that it was a little off-putting. To some extent. Are we talking about like how I feel about them, or are we talking about them on the golf course?
No, I'm talking about how you feel about them. Because I'm interested to see, like, how casual fans, like, view them. Like, are you starting to view these guys as a big deal, right? Like, Mickelson is a big deal. Tiger obviously was the biggest deal. But, like,
I think Rory's been a big...
to really take off, they need stars. And these guys are the best chance I feel like they've had in a while.
I agree with that. They're the best chance. I think that the problem is it's hard to rely on two guys to be kind of the face, because even when we're talking about Tiger and Phil, there were still other guys kind of there in the wings that helped, right? And with the Live Tour being what it is now, and these guys not being, facing off against the best talent over and over and over again, I think that that's a negative, because now you're making people choose, am I going to watch the Live Tour, am I going to watch the PGA Tour? And it almost feels like you got to take a side. As a casual golf fan, it doesn't feel like that at all. It's like, I'll watch whatever I want when I want to watch it,
Yeah.
But I think Rory and Scotty are absolutely the faces. Scotty's just not, he's not Tiger Woods to the extent of, I'm not talking about how he plays on the golf course, but having that swag, that charisma, that I am that dude without even having to say it. Just your play kind of says that, the way that you move around the golf course.
He's a silent assassin.
Yeah, and that's not bad, but you do got to have that outspoken guy. And Rory's more worried about the politics, I would say. Now, obviously winning the Masters and just the run that he's had, kind of getting back into his status in the world of golf, I think is huge. But yes, I think that those are your faces. But the problem is, if you had Dustin Johnson, if you had Brooks Koepka, if you had Bryson DeChambeau, then you're intensifying the rivalries, and you're also, when those guys are winning, they're looking even better than what they do now, because they're beating people that we read that leaderboard and we're like, who the heck is Ludwig Oberg?
Right.
Like, and Oberg's a really good golfer, right? Like, he's created a name, but it just does not resonate with the people who aren't, going through a list or listening to Keith Fleming and Ryan Mulvey as they're divulging the minute stats to help you make some money.
Completely agree. And again, this is where I think golf coverage has really failed, because it's not always the most interesting thing to watch. Like, that, to me, they should change up the way they do coverage. There should be more during, like, the coverage. Like, you have prepackaged videos of certain players where you can, learn a little bit about them, where they're from, just anything, because you have to get to know people to root for them. And then the other thing where I really think they've made a mistake is all these other sports now are completely leaning into gambling and DFS and all that. And you know what makes people root for the NFL and watch the NFL more than anything else? Gambling.
Yeah.
Fantasy football. That's what it is. And golf is something that is a great sport to gamble on, because you get good odds. Like, it's almost like playing blackjack at a casino. Like, now, granted, do you have, like, these amazing odds? No, it's gambling. You're never going to have amazing odds, but you have better odds at, like, blackjack and, say, craps than you do a slot machine. And golf is that way in terms of sports. You really get good. You'll never see guys that have a legit chance to win an NBA title or an NFL title with future odds of 20, 30, 40 to 1. That's just not the way the rest of the sports work. And to me, the coverage should lean into that. They should talk about the betting odds. They should mention when this guy wins, he was 180 to 1 to win. So if you put $10 on it, you just won $1,800. Like, that would get people interesting. And I think that would get more eyeballs on basically the coverage.
Yeah, I agree very wholeheartedly there. And maybe there's an opportunity, Keith. Maybe we can slide into the television world and beg people to give us a show.
Yeah, do it right now. Sign me up.
Give us a show.
Beg.
Give us a show, please. We already
We're groveling.
I'll grovel. Yes. I will grovel all day with the best of them, man. No problem.
Ohio Brad says that there's nobody playing golf right now that draws casuals in to watch. He says he only watches the Masters. I watch if I get a notification, or if Ryan texts me, hey, this tournament's coming down to the wire. If I get a notification it's coming down to the wire, or if there's no other sports on, because I enjoy watching golf. I do, but they're really, I mean, Ohio Brad for a large extent, or to a large part there is right. There's no one that I'm sitting there, I got to watch this guy. Like even Scotty Scheffler in his dominance right now, it's not like I need to go watch Scotty Scheffler. It's basically like if Scotty Scheffler is going into the final round down 2, I know who's winning that tournament. Scotty Scheffler.
And I think Rory's been around now for so long that he just, people love to watch him, but pulling...
He's like your crazy uncle. You know what I mean? Like, you know him. You know Rory.
Yeah, and to pull in new viewers to golf, I totally agree with Ohio Brad. We just don't have that captivating dude right now in professional golf. But
they're not doing a good job of building them.
And it goes back to the point of the tours, of the media, of the coverage. It's not, but I think you've said this before, Keith, with the betting side of things. Do live bets on the coverage. Will Xander Schauffele hit the green on this hole? Minus 110 for no, plus 100 for yes. Live bet it now. Scan this QR code.
We know DraftKings will partner with these sports. We see it, and you can't now watch a sports coverage without DK or FanDuel or one of those things.
Yep, absolutely. But they need to do a better job of it. Ohio Brad, that's a great point. Casual golf fan not being tied in to, because there's just nobody bringing them into the game of golf right now. So good stuff. Keith, we got about 30 seconds before we got to take a break. Anything you want to cover, or you just want to let it carry over to the next? Here, let me do this. I'll ask you a quick question. George Pickens going to the Cowboys. Do you think that matters for anything?
Yes. For fantasy, absolutely.
Yeah.
I expect Pickens to have a huge year.
Speaking of fantasy,
it does make the Cowboys a lot better. I disagree with people that are saying this is not a big deal. If you look, when Dak had Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, that offense was humming.
Yeah.
And I think the addition of Pickens with CeeDee Lamb is going to also make that offense hum. The question is, how good is their defense, offensive line? I get that, but it absolutely, to me, makes them better, especially for what they spent to get them.
Yeah, I mean, CeeDee Lamb may be a top 3 or 4 pick now in your draft, simply because they're going to have to add extra coverage to Pickens and not be able to double CeeDee Lamb quite as much now. But the Steelers are left with DK Metcalf, I think Calvin Austin III.
Roman Wilson, drafted 2 years ago. So, and I really do like Calvin Austin.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the question is who's throwing on the ball. It's like what I said today. You still got Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, he's third, and you got Will Howard's your number 2 right now.
Will Howard from us. I mean, it's a mess.
Yeah, absolutely. Which the Steelers really hadn't been in a mess in quite some time, other than the couple guys.
Well, the QB kind of has been. I mean,
yes.
This was crazy.
Yeah,
now
last
you're going
year
on a
with
decade with Wash, Roethlisberger, and just like it's been a minute since they've had a quarterback. You're like, oh, the Steelers have this quarterback. It's more like, ugh.
Kind of been a revolving door of quarterbacks the last several years. But, Keith, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll talk about the Truist Championship coming up there at Philadelphia Cricket Club. We'll be right back.
A 2-run home run.
The Atlanta Braves are back.
Here comes the throw. It's late. Braves win.
And ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Braves country.
He just wrecked that thing. Straight away center, a homer for Riley.
Sales, Strider, Acuna, Ozzie, Riley, Profar, and Coach Snitker lead a stellar lineup. Listen live nights and weekends on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Wednesday. Mostly cloudy the rest of the day with the wind coming out of the south-southwest around 8 miles per hour and 81. Tonight, look for a variety of light sprinkles and mostly clouds with a temperature near 73. Tomorrow, a high around 78 and mostly clouds in the morning, and then a possibility of thunderstorms. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Krispy Kreme Donuts presents Minis for Mom, May 6th through the 11th. Mom will love the 4 new flavors that pack a big message into a mini donut. Perfect for celebrating the light moms bring. They're available May 6th through the 11th. Only at Krispy Kreme Donuts in front of HCA Hospital on 23rd Street, Panama City, and on the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan. Krispy Kreme Donuts since 1937. Krispy Kreme Donuts where you get them hot.
Hewitt Tire and Auto. Call 850-769-7323.
Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Need a tow? Call Billy at Hometown Towing, 850-265-1562.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. 4. Don't mind me. I'm just playing through. Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local, ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Joined by golf DFS and betting expert Keith Fleming, as we've been joined every Wednesday pretty much since the get-go here of the Inside Drive. We very much appreciate his insight, his winner picks, and his great content that you have to check out there on fantasysixpack.net. Keith, tell everybody about some of the new stuff. You kind of changed your format up a little bit, a little more concise, straight to the point. Tell everybody about what you got going on.
I mean, as concise as it gets for me.
Concise is a loose term when it comes to you.
You know me.
Yes.
I mean, I just want to really thank Joe Bond for helping me kind of craft the way that I present, my plays and work each week. And then also, again, you for joining me on the 2 Off the Tee show, which I think has been really good this season. Excited about it moving forward. But each week now you have a tournament preview, and that is where I give a ton of information about the course, any key stats you need to know, course comps. Usually give like 3-4 plays. Then I have the betting and DFS cheat sheets, which that's where if you just want the plays, you just want the guys to bet on, and the guys, for DFS, you can find that. It's literally in basically a spreadsheet form. You can go through that in no time. And now we both offer stats on our site, fantasysixpack.net, where you can go look at, I think there's 11 categories we have on there that you can go through and search through. And then, thanks to Joe Bond, because don't ask me how we did it. I just gave percentages for the different categories, but I now have an actual model each week that will rank the field by the stats that I think are most important, and we're also sharing that information as well. So there's just a ton of stuff for you to dive into the golf tournaments. And again, anytime you want to reach out to me, ask me questions, social media, you can put it in the comments, whatever. I try to always respond. I want more people to be involved in this because I think it's an easy way to make money. Like I really do. You can, if you really pay attention and are not afraid to do the homework, you can make a real profit in golf, whether it be in gambling or DFS.
And the homework is essentially already done for you by you, Keith.
Correct.
Which we appreciate. All you got to do is go look at the information that's already been done and compiled. It's like having the answers to the test as you're taking that particular test. So we appreciate everything you do, Keith. And we got a big one, another signature event coming up this week. No cut signature event, correct?
Yeah, our favorite type of event. I hate these. It's 72 players. No cut. I just feel like there should always be a cut. It gives everybody in the field something to play for. Because basically, in these things, they're all getting paid. That's why they're here. Everybody is getting a check. Everybody's getting a decent check. But this event, normally the Spruce Championship would be at Quail Hollow, but we're going to be at Quail Hollow next week for the golf second major, the PGA Championship. So it's pretty cool where they picked. This is the first time a golf tournament has ever been held in the city of Philadelphia, which that is crazy. Did you know that? First PGA Tour event in Philadelphia.
I didn't know that. Not first major in the greater Philadelphia area. Well, there's been majors in the greater Philadelphia area, right?
Never a PGA Tour event actually in Philadelphia.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, PCC
like in Pennsylvania, obviously, yeah, there has been, but not like actually in the city of Philadelphia. And they're going to the oldest golf club in the United States. The Cricket Club was founded in 1854. It's got 3 different 18-hole courses. We're going to be doing the Wissahickon course.
Nice job.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm a professional. If you heard it last night in the run-through on the show, not so good. It is consistently ranked in the top 100 courses by Golf Digest, opened in 1922, and it's a par 70, plays just over 7,100 yards, but this is a lot longer than the number. I know we're used to seeing these 74, 7,500-yard courses. First of all, remember, there's only 2 par 5s. Those are obviously the easiest scoring holes each week. It has 2 par 3s that play over 215 yards and 5 par 4s that play over 450. So I actually think it is longer, plus there's a good bit of rain potentially coming in. That's going to make it longer as well. The most bunkers of any course on tour this week, 118 of them. They are everywhere. A lot of them come into play off the tee. We were talking about the Architect makes them very penal. If you go into one of those, you're not going to probably be going at the green from 180, 200 yards. You're going to have to wedge it out because they're real steep bunkers. And this is a course that typically really firm and fast greens. Again, depending on how much rain they get, which there is a lot in the forecast, that would probably soften it up a lot and make this event a lot easier. And then approach shots, it's really important to be on the right side of the hole. So it's not simply about finding the fairway. It's not really that thick of rough, so it's actually better if the angle, say, is coming from the left side of the fairway. Even if you miss left in the rough, that can be better, you know, with an angle to a pin than being just in the dead center of the fairway potentially. And this is one of those weeks. We don't have any data in terms of historical data at this venue, and that means you're kind of flying blind. Because of that, I am really kind of getting to the basics, which, you know, I've been doing this year anyway, but I kept it really simple. There's 12 par 4s, so obviously par 4 scoring is really big. I want guys that are playing well, so strokes gained total the last 16. I looked at total driving. A majority of the shots are going to come from 150-plus yards, so proximity from that distance. Scrambling, you obviously want stand saves with 118 bunkers. And then the 2 most important statistics, in my opinion, in golf week to week, strokes gained tee to green and strokes gained approach. The official DK lineup this week, last week, if you listened, despite Scheffler costing $13,400, I said if you're doing cash games, which I recommend, you better have him in your single entries. I'm doing the same for Rory this week. This is his first individual event since the Masters. No surprise, he's hitting as amazing. First in strokes gained off the tee, second in strokes gained tee to green. I think most impressively, he's 9th in putting right now on tour in strokes gained. Ranks 9th on par 3 scoring, 6th on par 5, 4th on par 4. Again, Rory is having a really good year. And I thought Greg made a great point last night that he has the ability, if he wants to, with his length, to cut dog legs with his, you know, I mean, he can carry it 320, 330 yards. And if he's having a really accurate week with the driver, which you know Rory can, he could turn this into a pitch and putt, and that's going to be bad news for the rest of the field because there's very few players that will, I think, be able to do that method.
And that's a great point, too. This is an old-school northeast golf course.
Yep.
And you've got fairways back-to-back, right next to each other. You can cut all sorts of stuff off on these types of golf courses. And like you said, the weather of the forecast for Friday looks like a 91% chance of rain, high temps only 60 degrees. And also another factor, you know, when it gets a little cooler, that golf ball does not quite compressed the same, so you don't get that same kind of distance. And a guy like Rory who can put it so far out there, I agree with you, Keith, is going to have a huge
Do you think with Brian, his, you know, lack of obviously experience at this venue, again, this is everybody, like, will he be able to pick it up that quickly for the lines? Because, I mean, sometimes, like, that's a real science, right? Like, when you're trying to cut a corner, you know, carrying it 320 yards or 310 yards, like, that could potentially affect him. That's my one concern with Rory if he goes that route is, has he have enough experience to really know the lines to be able to get away with that?
Well, that's up to his best bud there, Harry. Harry's got to get out there and scout that golf course and make sure they know where every tee shot is supposed to go.
Harry's spending the money he won at the Masters and Bay
This
Hill.
year, really?
Yeah,
This
I think
year?
Rory's already made like $20 million, so that means Harry's probably made about $2 carrying his bag. Not a bad gig.
Not too bad at all. But yes, I think they're going to spend a lot of time in these practice rounds getting out there and figuring out the lines. And yeah, I do think they can pick it up quite quick. And a lot of times too, when you cut golf courses off, that actually makes your landing area sometimes a little bit wider depending on the angle of that hole, because you're not going straight down the middle of the fairway. You're going to where the fairway may, dogleg to the left, and now all of a sudden you've opened up a little bit. So if you've got, a little bit of crookedness, now I'm not talking about big blocks or big poles.
Well, it's not like Rory does, right?
Yeah.
He's like about the straightest driver on the planet.
Yeah, no doubt. So I think he'll be fine. I think they pick it up, and I think, like you said, you have to have him in your cash game DFS lineups this week.
That's how you know somebody can hit it a long way or used to be able to. Ryan talking about carrying corners. I have never been able to go to a golf course and be like, I'm just going to cut the corner here. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but your strokes gained approach is way better than mine.
Well, that's fair. I mean, and again, it's just golf. That's what it is, man. There's a million ways to get there. So